Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. This is Dr. Thaddeus Venture, and you're listening to the Longbox Guys. Whatever that means.
On the road, we're going home to the place where wild nerds roam with pretty girls and dudes in capes. Going to cons is our escape. It's like Mecca for geeks in a star-filled sky where you can meet all your heroes and none of them fly.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, Silent Bob from all those terrible Jay and Silent Bob type pictures, and you are listening to Thinking Outside the Long Box, comics talk for comics fans.
Hey everybody, and welcome again this week to the Longbox Guys. My name is Thomas Strange. With me as always is some of my very best friends since I was a very little kid, and a brand new friend that we're going to introduce in just a second. But first, Josh, how you doing? What are you drinking?
I am doing great, and I am drinking a Treehouse Julius out of my double-walled aluminum mug.
Oh, would you call those double walls maybe your sugar walls?
Maybe.
As an homage to maybe Sheena Easton, also known as Sheila E.
You even fucked that up. Holy shit.
Wow. That was like 12 seconds ago.
I'm old. Tommy, how you doing, and what are you drinking?
I'm doing okay. I am drinking some Cardew because I love Cardew Scotch.
Well, that sounds
How are
delicious.
you doing, Tommy?
Mike?
What are you drinking?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm drinking a big glass of Johnson's Water Seal. Thompson's Water Seal, the best scotch you can buy for $14 a handle. Thompson's Water Seal. Mikey, you're stuck in Georgia, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Did you lose a golden fiddle? What the fuck happened?
I lost a bet with God.
All right. Well, and what are you drinking? Are you having a dead partner?
I'm not having a dead partner. I'm not staying at the Embassy Suites. I'm staying at the Hampton Inn. So I am drinking. I'm on my second Coors Light.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mikey.
That's almost as bad.
I had to drive it all the way from Denver across the Mississippi River, and I had a long way to go and a short time to get there.
I think that's more northeast and down, but all right. And our new friend tonight, Mark, how you doing, and what are you drinking?
I'm doing great. I'm having a single malt Glenfiddich.
Ooh.
Going classy.
I wish I was a famous comic book writer, not a dirtbag living in a trailer in Massachusetts.
It's very glamorous, let me tell you. All the free turkey wraps you can eat.
I mean, that's at least 6 for me. I'm going maybe 7.
What do you mean?
I would just sit at the counter and say, bring me all the turkey wraps. Excuse me, sir. What you might have heard is, bring me a lot of turkey wraps. What I said was, bring me all the turkey wraps.
The key is to go in the green room and only eat one while you're in there, and then take like a couple, out with you when you go. So they don't realize how hungry you actually are.
That is the strategy of the man purse. A lot of people will berate you for the man purse, but you do get a lot more stuff with the man purse going, I got to say.
Yeah. Dignity's got its place. It's just not at the con.
That sounds the title of my next book.
Mike and I used to be pro wrestlers, and one time we were backstage.
Hey! What? How do I get ducked out of this one?
I'm sorry.
Apparently I don't rate either.
Well, you weren't a pro wrestler.
How long did I shill for your company, Tom?
The evil bell ringer.
LT was our evil bell ringer, and Josh, of course, was there as one of the better wrestlers I've ever wrestled, Kid Anarchy. At this particular show, it was me and Mike, though, and what was it? Who sings Dirty White Boy?
Foreigner, and it wasn't them. It was Cheap Trick. Don't Sheena E this.
Show. We were doing a show with Cheap Trick on the ticket, and we just ate all of their shit and drank all their beer. We didn't leave anything for them. So we kind of know how it feels to destroy a green room with our big appetites and our big bellies. But, Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and some of the things you've done so people know that you're not a homeless guy we find on the side of the road.
I'm mostly known for ruining people's childhoods.
Thank you. You must have listened to our podcast, haven't you?
But yeah, I did.
Father Flanagan?
Yeah, not that way. Let me be clear. Just in a literary fashion. No, I did the Flintstones comic as part of DC's Hanna-Barbera crossovers. I followed that up with a Snagglepuss comic, which I turned Snagglepuss into a gay Southern Gothic playwright living in the 1950s. He runs afoul of the McCarthy hearings. And then I'm also doing a Red Sonja series and the Wonder Twins for DC.
I'm a huge Red Sonja fan. God help you if you fuck her up. I will come for you. But I totally trust you because the Flintstone series was an epiphany for us. I have to say we're all huge fans. Mike told us one single joke from the Flintstones book that made all of us run out and go get the book. Josh, you remember what the joke was?
The joke Mike got us into the book? Was it? Nope. Does Mike remember the joke Mike used?
No, I don't
Mike,
remember.
you remember.
I think Tom's having a seizure. What was the joke?
I'm not having a seizure. You said Fred Flintstone's talking to a coworker, and the coworker says, "Hey, Fred, I see you always wear that tie."
Oh, yeah.
Mike told us that little bit, and that totally hooked us in. For those who haven't read the comic book, Fred Flintstone goes, "Oh yeah, I read somewhere that you should dress for the job you want. I want to be the plant manager, so dress for success." The guy goes, "Oh, how long ago did you read that?" And he goes, 10 years ago. I am paraphrasing. I wish I had that in front of me. But we all heard that one quick one-liner joke, and we're like, fuck, that's brilliant. That's a great little joke. This is going to be a great comic. Little did we know how much social commentary and satire you were going to pack into this comic book. Every single page is a power bar, not a candy bar. Tell us a little bit about, what went into making that and how we can and also, side question, if I kill you and make a suit of you, do I become you? Go.
I'll answer the second one first. You might be able to fool like the bank camera, but other than that, you don't assume any of my powers. But you might be able to use my ATM card. But in answer to the first question, when they offered me the Flintstones, they were talking about it like I try to build it around like what made sense about that world to me and what didn't. And one of the things that didn't make sense to me about the Flintstones was the fact that he wears a tie to go work at a quarry. So,
fair enough.
So that's something I felt like I had to like work up a story for. And I thought, this is like actually pretty sad because, a guy wearing a tie to the quarry probably has some unrequited ambitions at the quarry. Same with like the water buffaloes, like what might have made sense in the 1960s. Them all belonging to sort of the Knights of Columbus Gentlemen's Association doesn't really translate well to our era. So I thought, well, what would they be if they all got together with the water buffaloes today? I thought, they'd probably be like a support group for vets, and obviously the big cardinal sin of any civilization is that they were founded by a war/genocide. So that tied into that story. So really just thinking about the series and what made sense about the world of Bedrock to me and what didn't, I kind of just built the stories around that.
How much time do you get from sort of them approaching you? How much in that storyline do you get to like put all that together, script everything up, and sort of lay everything out? What does that time frame look like for you?
I think they approached me in like January of 2016, and it was on the streets by like July 2016. So I had to start. I took like a month or two to sort of like work out some concepts, start scripting, and build. Basically, whenever I'm starting a new series, I create what I call a Bible, which is just like usually about 10 pages of plot ideas, like an outline of where I envision the story going, and just some like one-liners and stuff I imagine the characters saying, and just some little plot details and stuff, and then I just start building the scripts off of that. In the case of the Flintstones, I really wanted it to be sort of my manifesto about civilization, where civilization has gone wrong. Because, I'm never going to get the opportunity to really write about the world's first civilization ever again. And it seemed like the ideal place for a manifesto. Plus, it just seemed like so cool to embed that into like a Flintstones comic where no one's expecting it.
Yeah, one question. You said you were using it to address the questions you had about the Flintstones. Was one of the questions, how come Wilma's so much hotter than Fred? Is that why you had that whole issue about what is marriage and Fred's insecurity?
Well, I wanted Fred to look like a guy who was like maybe like a hunk, like a star football player who's kind of let himself go since high school. And I feel like Steve kind of nailed that. Like he's not like a handsome guy, but he looks like a guy who was handsome at one point.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking on that line, the collaboration between you and the artists, I think, over the last couple series, just especially the Flintstones, and I also feel this way about Prez, the imagery that's gone along, especially just the background details, is so well inducted into what you've written. How much collaboration is there, and how much of that is you putting stuff up on the wall and the artist delivering, or you guys just hashing that out as you go along?
Yeah, that's kind of what I like to do now whenever I start a new series with an artist, is like just give them like either a splash page, or in the case of Steve with the Flintstones, a 2-page spread that just kind of shows the world in which the story happens, because that tends to give them an idea of like what sort of things would exist in this world. So the first communication I had with Steve, I just basically wrote, here are 10 businesses, a list of 10 businesses I want to be in Bedrock. There's a 2-page spread to do Bedrock. I want it, to have a restaurant called Whammoth Bammoth Thank You Mammoth. I want it to have a gay bar called Homo Erectus, and which is the first gay bar I think in Flintstones lore. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure you nailed that one.
Yeah, in like a big.
Weren't they all kind of gay?
So I just gave him a list of these businesses, and then he put together Bedrock, and then I knew immediately, this guy gets it. He gets exactly what I'm going for. And then later on, and other little details I like to throw in there was like Pebbles T-shirts, like for different bands and musical acts. And then Steve kind of like got in the act and started coming up with his own sort of like T-shirts for Pebbles, or little background details. So basically, it's just about establishing that you and the artist both understand the world in which this comic is taking place, and then you feel like you could trust you could trust him to come up with background details, or he gets it when I give him a background detail. But yeah, it really becomes a collaboration after you have that initial meeting of the minds.
Gotcha.
So, in the Flintstones, was there anything you wanted to get in there that got shot down by DC?
No, strangely, no. There were things that, like, I think that initially the Hanna-Barbera licensing people wanted taken out, but for example, they said no mentions of any deities. Fred has to say yabba dabba doo once an issue, and so I told them that this wasn't going to work for Eumene, and it was completely contrary to what I had envisioned. So DC, to their credit, just told me not to worry about it and just to write the series up right. And I did. I took that full advantage of that offer. I'm like the guy. I'm like the person when you tell them to make themselves at home, they put on your bathrobe.
So you've met my stepbrother.
Yeah.
Did you put down a towel?
No, that's only polite.
Yeah. No, they let me just piss right on the floor. Which was nice of them.
So yeah,
are you a married fella, by the way?
Yes, I am.
All right, so you do have some respect for the sanctity of marriage. Kind of hard to tell from the diatribe that Frank lives.
Yeah, it was not meant to be like an anti-marriage comic. It was just sort of like about like how people are acting like marriage is like this traditional thing, when really it's something we've made up over the last 10,000 years. It's like there's no such thing as traditional marriage. It's like all marriage has only been here for like maybe 1% of human existence.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to hand fasting in England, we're really only talking about 2,000 years tops, really. I mean, hand fasting in in tribes, and that's about it. So $2,000.
Yeah, it's a blip in human history. So, I mean, I enjoy being married. I've got nothing against being married, but I understand it for what it is. It's not this thing that was, put on the planet, with the dinosaurs, or, this thing that exists in nature. It's an institution we came up with to provide, farm labor and labor for the cities, and to make sure that, in a way of like making sure that you had a clear passage of title of lands from like father to son. That's really all it is.
Clear passage of title of lands from father to son. This guy gets it, Josh.
This guy gets
He's
it.
on our
That's
team.
what it was about. It was about
This guy gets it.
Because we're married, and you cannot be with any other man. I know that whatever comes out of you is mine. Therefore, it is able to inherit my property. That's when they talk about the sanctity of marriage. That's what they're really talking about, the sanctity of about the sanctity of property. But the modern version of marriage, I think, is much better, where it's just about like, I love you and I want to build a life with you. It's more, based around like having a mortgage.
If I go down, you're going down with me.
Yeah, right. It's a much healthier basis for a relationship than, the exchange of like goats and land.
My in-laws were farmers, so I wouldn't go that far. There was no exchange of goats or land. But going back to the demands from Hanna-Barbera, I think you did accomplish that whole Yabba Dabba Doo, making Yabba Dabba Doo so much sadder in real life than it was I ever could have imagined, where it's a mantra to write Fred and the other veterans back when they're suffering from PTSD. Was that something? Are you a veteran?
No.
Okay.
50% of the podcast is, by the way.
But
so.
yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your service. And yeah, I know a lot of people in my family have served. A lot of people I know have served. And to me, to make it relevant, it's something that doesn't just exist in time in the 1960s, but make it relevant for today, I felt like I had to address, the fact that a lot of people in our world are veterans who are coming back from horrible situations.
And back to the God issue, I do like your deconstruction of religion and how it all came about. And I am actually reading right now, well, not as we speak, but for the last few days, I've been reading God is Disappointed in You.
Oh, great.
And I have Apocrypha now afterwards. Could you tell our listeners what those books are?
Yeah, God is Disappointed in You is a sort of abbreviated retelling of the Bible in modern language. I like to think of it as the Bible as explained to somebody in a bar.
And that's the language it's written in. I really appreciate it. If I could just read a quick passage from the first book of Samuel, if you don't mind.
Yeah, not at all.
The whole ancient world was a bag of dicks. Even God was a bit of a dick. Life was so cheap that nobody really held it against you if you killed a person or two. How could you avoid it? So mercy was pretty much out of the question. The best you could hope for was that people would honor their deals, and people were always trying to make a deal with God. I just love that passage.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of I think if you had to summarize the Flintstones, it would probably be the ancient world was a bag of dicks.
That's
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I liked it when the Neanderthals.
This world.
I liked it when the Neanderthals decided at the end of the first issue that they wanted to leave Bedrock because they decided that civilization was nothing but trying to get other people to do the killing for you.
That's it in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, everything like from, it's like I've never killed, I eat meat at pretty much every meal. I've never killed a cow or a chicken. We have oil because other people have gone and killed those who would keep it from us. Everything that we have is because we sent someone else to do our killing.
So let's talk about.
If you've never killed a chicken, do it, man. It's awesome.
Someone in this world needs to make me a chicken tour. I just have to say, as soon as I saw that from Taco Freedom, I was enthralled. I
would love, if they had it on the menu, I would order it at least once before I died.
Absolutely. I mean,